Hey folks, Sean Jordan from the Research and Planning Group here to continue showing you some of the cool things marketing research professionals can do with generative AI programs. Today we're going to continue our tour of ChatGPT, which is probably the program you've heard the most about, but instead of using the free version, I'm going to show you what the capabilities of ChatGPT 4 Plus are. It currently costs about $20 a month, and it offers some pretty amazing additional capabilities, including some extra features provided by plugins that allow you to greatly expand what ChatGPT can do. Now, I know when I say words like plugins, there's going to be some element of my audience who gets a little bit nervous because that sounds like technobabble. So let me use an analogy here. Imagine that ChatGPT is like the basic software that runs on your mobile phone. And while it's very powerful and very capable, it's limited to general uses. But you can expand your phone's capabilities by downloading apps that provide more specific things you can do, like scrolling your social media platforms or reading the news or watching videos. Think of ChatGPT's plugins as being like apps on the App Store. They allow you to use the platform to do cool new things, but they require ChatGPT to work. By subscribing to the paid tier that OpenAI offers, you also get access to ChatGPT 4, which is the far more sophisticated and capable version of ChatGPT. Now, there are other ways to use ChatGPT 4 that won't cost you anything, including Bing Chat, which is probably the easiest to set up and use, but the other versions won't let you use the app-like plugins that I'm going to show you today. So, buckle up. As usual, we're just going to scratch the surface on what this platform can do, but it's going to be a wild ride all the same. When you log into the paid tier of ChatGPT, you're going to notice some new options. One of those is to decide whether you'd like to use the basic ChatGPT or whether you'd like to use ChatGPT 4. As of this video's recording, there's a cap of 50 prompts in a 3-hour period if you want to use ChatGPT 4, but that's plenty for what we're going to do today. When you click on GPT-4, you'll notice that there are 3 modes you can select: Default, Code Interpreter, and Plugins. For this video, I'm going to show you how the plugins work, so we'll select that, and then we'll click on this No Plugins Enabled to see what we can actually turn on. Since I've already installed a few plugins I found interesting or useful, you're going to see them here, but you can also go to the plugin store to select which ones you'd like to enable. As you can see, there are a lot of plugins available, well over 800, and far too many for us to review in this video. Some require you to set up an account with a third-party service, but others work immediately once you install them. All of them are going to utilize ChatGPT in some way to allow you to perform specific tasks, and many are going to add features that ChatGPT isn't capable of on its own. One of those things is math. Believe it or not, ChatGPT is actually pretty lousy at math on its own. So let's begin with a plugin that I really enjoy, Wolfram, which gives ChatGPT access to a computation and mathematical engine, as well as databases of all sorts of information. One of the strengths of having Wolfram enabled is that ChatGPT can also check factual information against the database and ensure it's telling you things that are accurate. It's kind of like adding an almanac and a math whiz to your conversations. So let's start with a simple query. I'm going to ask plain vanilla GPT the following. So my name is Sean Jordan. Please provide me with some statistics about my name, including how common it has been over the last 100 years. Create a graph showing the popularity of my first name versus my last name. So one thing you're going to notice right away is that GPT-4 limits itself to its training data set, which it will tell you only goes up until 2021. While it can provide some general information, it can't tell me much more about regional popularity or anything beyond some very basic facts. There's also the very real possibility that some of this is not even accurate. ChatGPT is known for generating what are known as AI hallucinations, where it makes things up and then reports them very confidently as if they're true. We can only know for sure if we verify the facts provided, and that's where connecting the program to an engine like Wolfram really helps. So let's try that prompt again, but this time with the Wolfram plugin enabled. So here we go. And you're going to notice that as it generates its prompt, it first consults Wolfram. You can actually click here to see what it is doing. It takes a little bit longer to get a response, but once it does finally generate, you can see the difference in quality almost immediately. But there's so much more you can do with Wolfram than just generate facts. Here are a few quick examples. Okay, that's pretty cool. And if you really want to get the most out of Wolfram's integration with ChatGPT, you should probably also take some time to play with Wolfram Alpha. the knowledge engine powering this integration so that you can understand how ChatGPT is communicating with it. Writing a good prompt will get you the best results, and that actually leads us to our next plugin. One of the downsides of ChatGPT is that it's very dependent upon your prompt to generate information, and if you word a prompt badly, you can generate some strange and sometimes wildly inaccurate information. One of the most useful plugins you can have turned on by default in ChatGPT Plus is called Prompt Perfect. This plugin will take anything you write, translate it into something it thinks will be optimal for ChatGPT, and then pass it along as the prompt instead. For example, consider this imprecise prompt. Tell me some tips for how I can improve my health. To use Prompt Perfect, I can just turn on the plugin and then add the word perfect in front of my prompt. We can now see that Prompt Perfect has reworded my prompt to say, "Can you please provide me with a list of specific tips and strategies that I can implement to enhance my overall health and well-being?" Now it'll pass that on to ChatGPT and generate a response for me. The new list is so much more succinct and helpful that the extra effort was actually worth my time. Writing useful prompts and accessing knowledge databases is great, but what about using ChatGPT to make my life easier? One of the things ChatGPT is really good at doing is reading large amounts of text quickly and utilizing that text to inform a conversation. And if you can put that text into a PDF and then upload it to the web for ChatGPT to access, you'll be amazed at what ChatGPT can do with it. One way of doing this is with the popular plugin Chat with PDF. The biggest downside to this program is that you need to place your PDF file on the web somewhere in a link that Chat with PDF can access. But if you do so, you're going to be amazed at the power it gives you to interact with your own document. So let's try a copy of one of my favorite books, Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travels, which I pulled off the web. So I'm going to put this in here, and I'm going to tell it, "You are Lemuel Gulliver. Please tell me a summary of your travels and the lessons you learned along the way." And holy Cliff's Notes, that was fast! And now watch as I ask Gulliver some questions that would make my English teacher proud. Hey Gulliver, did you feel the Yahoos were in any way symbolic of the people back in England where you're from? Gulliver, the big Indians and the little Indians and Lilliput have always seemed silly to me. How would you resolve their dispute? Gulliver, you had a rather unique way of putting out a fire in Lilliput. Would you care to comment about it? Gulliver, the floating island of Laputa has enchanted many people the same way that stories of Atlantis or Lemuria or Mu have. Why do you think Laputa is so intriguing to those who read your adventures? Look at how simple and easy it is for me to have a conversation with one of my favorite fictional characters. And if you think about how you could use this in Insights for just a moment, you could upload consumer interviews and then converse with synthetic consumers. Or you could upload a brand document and then converse with the brand. Or you could upload a research report and have ChatGPT write up an executive summary for you. You could even upload a collection of research papers and have ChatGPT write up a literature review. The sky is the limit, and if you don't have access to PDFs, you can just as easily use tools that can read text files, Word documents, or even websites. In fact, let me show you one of those tools that can access the web itself. So there are quite a few plugins that allow ChatGPT to search the web, and it's a cool but very problematic superpower for ChatGPT. And some of those tools, like Search with Bing and Link Reader, have actually already been disabled on the platform because of the problems they've posed. But there are dozens more plugins like them, and even if the one I'm about to show you, WebPilot, isn't working by the time you see this video, I'm certain you'll be able to find other plugins that do pretty much the same thing. So I'm going to type in this prompt. Here's a web link that I want it to look at, and I want it to summarize the insights from this page. Now, summarizing this short article is nothing for ChatGPT, and as you can see here, it's giving me a pretty good description of what the article had to say, as well as its comparison between ChatGPT and Bing Chat. But what if I asked it to do something a little bit more sophisticated, like summarize a full website? Well, let's try it out with a website that's been around for a long time called Lifehacker. So here we go. Please review the following website, provide me with some information on the type of content I'd find on this site, and what tips it can provide me regarding life hacks. Now, obviously, ChatGPT can't read the whole website, but it's still pretty impressive what it can come back with just based on receiving input regarding the landing page for a large lifestyle blog like Lifehacker that's been around for a long time. This sort of writing would be useful for building a directory or a summary. I'll also note that the plugin is primarily just passing along textual information to ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT is interpreting that. And so far, interpreting text is all we've really seen ChatGPT do. But what if I could do the same thing with video content? Well, here is where things get a little bit mind-blowing. VoxScript is a plugin that can allow ChatGPT to analyze the content of YouTube videos. For example, let's have it summarize part 2 of the series of videos that you're watching now. The video is just shy of 20 minutes long, but watch how quickly ChatGPT and the VoxScript plugin can summarize it. This feature is amazingly useful if you want to summarize online presentations and lectures and distill them down to their most useful components. Since the plugin is essentially just reading the automated transcript and captions for the video that YouTube produces by default, it can process the information far more quickly than you would be able to by attempting to watch the videos yourself. What's more, you can even use the power of ChatGPT to rewrite the presentations into simpler language. So here we go. Let's have it explain it to me as if I'm 5 years old. Or you can change the voice of the narrator providing the summary. So what if we tell it to summarize it in the voice of the Incredible Hulk? So why would you do this? Well, consider for a moment that you have a lot of information that you need to go through, which is all recorded on video rather than being written down. You could certainly utilize AI transcription software to pull transcripts and read them individually, but with VoxScript, you can gain immediate access to the insights from those videos and then continue having a conversation with ChatGPT about the video content, perhaps even adding in other videos or documents into the chat as well. And if that's not mind-blowing enough, as I mentioned, we're really still just scratching the surface here, and there is so much more you can do with this paid plus account. A few things I've done with ChatGPT 4 and its plugins have included editing existing images and generating vector graphic coordinates for a thumbnail or a logo, generating high-quality prompts for AI image generators and even forcing ChatGPT to generate the images for me, creating a fairy tale storybook complete with AI-generated pictures, creating AI-generated videos that it can explain topics in under a minute, writing a summary of scientific research sourced from massive repositories of studies, making AI-generated charts and slide decks from provided data, and playing text-based games where I can adventure around an open world that fully responds to my prompts. But what if we could break open the ChatGPT pinata and utilize these sorts of plugins without even needing a ChatGPT Plus account? Well, like I mentioned before, Bing Chat is always a good free option. It's powered by OpenAI's software, and it's additionally able to browse the web, and that might be all that most people really need to begin leveraging and utilizing these tools. But there's something even more interesting that you should know about, and this is where things get really wild. So prior to making this video, there was one very useful plugin that was called There's an AI for That, which allowed you to type in what you wanted to do and then locate an appropriate ChatGPT plugin for it. But that plugin isn't showing up currently in the store, but good news is there's a website, there's an AI for that.com, where you can not only see what you can do with ChatGPT, but you can browse almost all of the AI platforms out there and read about what they can do too. And you remember how I told you there are just currently over 800 ChatGPT plugins? Well, there are nearly 7,000 AI programs indexed on this site, and they range from incredibly fun and goofy stuff like generating realistic photos of your pets, to incredibly useful stuff like building websites, providing custom tutorials, or captioning images. While some of these services do require subscriptions, a shocking number of them are completely free. Now, as always, treat these platforms with skepticism and don't upload anything that's proprietary, or which contains information you don't have permission to share with a third party, because we have no idea what any of these services are actually doing with the data they collect. But don't be afraid to dip your toe in the water and give them a try. You will be amazed at what some of these tools can do, and it may prompt you to try new ideas that are even useful for engaging with ChatGPT itself. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing a sampling of what ChatGPT Plus can do, but there's one more thing I want to mention that we're going to cover in our next video, and that's this other option for a code interpreter. When we turn this mode on, you'll notice that ChatGPT adds a little plus to the prompt bar, and if you hover over it, you can see it can be used to upload a file. Why, you might wonder? Well, I'm going to tell you more, much more, in the next video. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll close by saying that from a business perspective, $20 a month is a small price to pay for access to a faster, smarter, more capable version of ChatGPT. But the key to getting a good return on investment is in actually utilizing the program as part of your daily flow. Right now, ChatGPT sort of exists in its own space and doesn't connect very easily to other applications and processes that you may be using. Finding ways to integrate it into your work requires trial and error, and you'll definitely need to give yourself time to get familiar with what it can do to ensure it's providing you with valuable output that you can't get from the standard free tier. Your organization may also prohibit you from using ChatGPT or place severe restrictions on what you can do with it and other generative AI programs. This policy can even extend to contracted employees and agencies who deal with sensitive data. Be very careful about how you use generative AI and be scrupulous about crediting it when you do utilize it. The next video in our series will be about using ChatGPT's code interpreter to upload data files and conduct actual data analysis. Future videos are going to focus on other AI programs like Stable Diffusion and Midjourney. Don't miss them, and be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon so you can be notified about future videos so you won't miss out. I would love to hear what you think of this video in the comments, especially if you're a marketing researcher or insights professional like me. And don't be shy about sharing the cool things you're doing with AI. See you next time.